in order to make a nice cutout for our yearbook, similar to this, to have images on top of a faded out image, we need to learn in Photoshop how to cut out an image. So I'm going to show that. First thing is to bring in an image into Photoshop. And once we have an image, make sure it's nice and big and pretty clear, because it gets harder the blurrier it gets. The more blurry it is, the harder it is. So a clear image is definitely best. But what we need to do is use our selection tools to select it, and then we'll delete what's on the outside of it and just use the image, and then we'll bring it into another image and place it over the top of it. So let me show you some of the selection tools. Over here on the tool panel, about the fourth one down, is this. If you click and hold this tool, this is the quick selection tool, and it also has the magic wand tool. Between these two tools is usually the best way to cut out an image. There's others, but these are usually the best. So the first thing I usually do is get the quick selection tool, and then I can, depending on how big it is here, and I can change the size with the brackets next to the letter P on the keyboard. But I can use the right bracket to make it bigger, or the left bracket to make it smaller. So I'm going to start fairly big. I'm just going to click and drag on my golfer here that I have. And if you hold down spacebar and click and drag, it moves within the image. To zoom in and out is Alt and then scroll wheel, holding down Alt. And then if you're scrolled in or zoomed in, hold down the spacebar and click and drag. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this tool all the way down the leg, down to the feet. Just try and get it the best I can. And it does a pretty good job, especially if the background is much different than the foreground. It's going to have a harder time on this golf club, so I'll probably just do that manually. So I'll get everything pretty nice. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point, because we're going to mask it, and then we're going to take away or add to the mask. So now that I've got it mostly selected, by the way, if it's a solid background, like if everything is white, kind of like this, then the better tool would probably be just the magic wand tool, because then I can just click and it takes the color of that pixel and gets rid of or selects everything that's that color pixel or close to that color. But since mine has a lot of colors, I did the quick selection tool. So it just depends on the picture. Okay, now I'm going to put a mask on it. So I come down here. Now first of all, you need your layers panel open here, and I've got one layer. It's a background layer, and I'll change that a little bit later. Also, you should have your history panel open, and those panels are found in the window tab. Either history and layers. You should have both of those open, and then you can place them over here by just clicking and dragging and placing them here. The history tool or panel, I can just click here and see it starts to get rid of things that I've done. Just click back as far as I want, or go back to where I ended up at the very bottom. Okay, so now the mask. In the layers panel, this button right here is the mask tool. So if I click that, it gives me a mask, and it deletes. When you see those checkers, that means it's transparent, and that's going to allow the background picture to show there. And so I've got it pretty well cut out, but look, there's no club there, so I'm going to have to fix that. And his shoes, there's some issues with the shoes. So what happens with the mask? If I'm clicked on the mask right here over in the layers, now I can select my brush, which is the tool right here, and make my brush a little bigger. Now I have a black and a white color right here. The black masks anything else. So if I've got black, see, I can just click and drag and it masks that. But if I click white, oops, not click on it, but click this little arrow, the double-headed arrow right here, or X on the keyboard, switches that between black and white. White will bring it back, just like that, so it masks it. And since I already had it selected, I'm going to undo what I had before I got rid of some of my mask. But I want to bring some of this back, so with white selected, I'm bringing some of it back so I can see more of his shoe, because I didn't get all of it. And it depends on if I'm going to show the shoes or not in this picture. In this picture I might not even show the shoes, but it looks good down there. Then I can hit X and get rid of some if I want to, but I'll undo that. Okay, so that looks pretty nice down there. And then just kind of scan everything, make sure it looks nice right there. I'm missing just a little bit, so make sure I have black selected and just click and drag that with the brush. Now on his hands, I'm missing the club, so I'm going to hit X to switch it to white. Then I'm going to go along the club, kind of a rough go at it here with a big brush. What happened? Okay, brush. And now I can also change the hardness or softness of the brush, and I want to be close to 100%, not 100% exactly, but maybe around 80% hardness. If I'm too soft, then it doesn't, it's really a soft edge, and then it doesn't look very good. If it's too hard, it's a hard edge and it doesn't look really good. So somewhere kind of in the middle, closer to hard, I would say. Okay, so there's my full club. Now I'm going to hit X on the keyboard and switch it back so that I'm taking away again. So I don't want a real soft edge and I don't want a real hard edge because it'd be obvious. But I'm just going to brush over this, and that's pretty good. Right there, I can fine tune it if I go in a little closer. And if I kind of mess up, like right there, whoops, I just hit X and then I can bring it back. But I'm going to make my brush smaller. So I just get the club. Okay, and then I'm going to hit X again to switch it, and then I'm going to fine tune this just a little bit more because I'm really picky. And you can unclick every once in a while, whoops, because if you mess up just like that, then I can just go back one and I don't lose all that I just did. Or you can just click the X and remask it or unmask it. Okay, so I've got that pretty good. The brackets again next to the letter P will make the brush bigger or smaller, just like this. Okay, so when I've got it masked just how I want, I don't know if that's supposed to be there or not. Yeah, it looks like that's his finger, so I won't take that away. Not that it's that big of a deal. You won't be able to tell little details like that. Okay, I'm going to zoom out now. I've got it pretty good here, cut out. And so that's the mask. Now I'm going to grab this whole layer. This is the move tool, so I'm going to click that. And I'm going to click and drag right on my cutout and drag it back up to my original picture, whichever tab that's in, and I'm still holding the click or holding the mouse button down, and then I come back down and drop it here, and it drops that whole layer with the mask, so I can still mask it even when it's over on the new page. So I can stick that wherever I want. I can even make it bigger if I click this button right here, show transform controls, and then I can make him as big or small as I want. If I'm adjusting it, if it's a person, well, just about anything, I want to hold down the shift key. So after I click and drag, hold down the shift key, it keeps the proportions, keeps it in proportion. So, and I can either do the cutout here with the background in Photoshop and then bring it all in, save it as an image, bring it all into Yearbook Avenue, or I could just bring in the cutouts as images into Yearbook Avenue. If I just keep it like this, and I save as, so file save as, and I save it as a PNG, that will save transparencies. And that way I can bring that into Yearbook Avenue and then stick a background on one of the pages, or just put that right over the white page, and that would look nice too. So that's the basics of a cutout and what we can do with it.